Hello and welcome to Bounding into Comics. My name is John Trent. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief at Bounding into Comics. And today I got a story about Hayden Christensen returning as Darth Vader and the latest rumor about how he will be filming scenes in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So a new rumor claims that Hayden Christensen will be seen in the upcoming Obi-Wan Kenobi series without Darth Vader's helmet on. This rumor comes from a source close to Bounding into Comics. They claim that Christensen will be Darth Vader, but will also film scenes without Vader's iconic helmet on. The reason for not always wearing the mask is due to celebrity recognition, according to our source. So that is the gist of the rumor right there, front and center. So now we're going to kind of go in and kind of talk about this, unpack it a little bit. So we did find out that Hayden Christensen is going to return as Darth Vader in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy made that announcement on the Disney Investor Day 2020 presentation. She said, last August at the D23 Expo in Anaheim, we announced the return of Ewan McGregor in the iconic role of Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi for a special event series on Disney+. Obi-Wan Kenobi begins 10 years after the dramatic events of Revenge of the Sith, where he faced his greatest defeat, the downfall and corruption of his best friend and Jedi apprentice, Anakin Skywalker, turned evil Sith Lord Darth Vader. Kennedy then confirmed Christensen's return as Vader, saying, quote, "Our fans will be thrilled that Hayden Christensen will be returning in the role of Darth Vader. This will be the rematch of the century." She then stated the series is directed by Deborah Chow, coming off the great work she did with us as a director on Season 1 of The Mandalorian. Production will begin in March of next year. So that was pretty much all of the announcement that we got. Investors did get a link to a sizzle reel, but the fact that they say they aren't beginning production on the show till March, it's hard to imagine what they actually got to see. It was probably just a bunch of stuff from like Revenge of the Sith mashed up together to like tease what the show is going to be about. But we did get a little bit of a quote from Deborah Chow as well. So according to Games Radar, Chow confirmed that Vader and Kenobi would indeed be fighting again. She said, "We couldn't tell the story of Obi-Wan without Darth Vader. We will definitely see Obi-Wan and Darth Vader get into it again." Kennedy and Chow's confirmation that Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi would have a rematch was already problematic in itself, given the original Star Wars film. I wrote about this in an article yesterday, but I'm going to kind of rehash it here. In that film, Vader confronts Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Death Star and tells him, "I've been waiting for you, Obi-Wan. We meet again at last. The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master." And then Kenobi responds, "Only a master of evil, Darth." The two then proceed to fight each other with their lightsabers. And then Vader actually strikes down Obi-Wan, but he has no corpse left. And as we find out, he becomes one with the Force. This also appears, if they are going to be fighting again 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, it also appears to contradict George Lucas's original plans for Obi-Wan Kenobi following what eventually became Revenge of the Sith. So in a 1981 Revenge of the Jedi story conference, Revenge of the Jedi would eventually become Return of the Jedi. Lucas detailed that Kenobi would stay on Tatooine because he was a wanted man. He explained, quote, "Ben takes one and gives him to a couple out there on Tatooine, and he gets his little hideout in the hills and he watches him grow. Ben can't raise Luke himself because he's a wanted man." End quote. If he can't even raise Luke himself, it's hard to imagine that he would get in another lightsaber fight with Darth Vader 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. It would expose himself to the Empire, to Vader, to Vader's Inquisitors, and potentially expose Luke on Tatooine. And the whole purpose of Obi-Wan going to Tatooine is to prevent the Empire and Vader from finding out about him. So the latest rumor, if true, causes even more problems with Darth Vader. So if you remember at the end of Revenge of the Sith, we actually see what Vader's face looks like before his helmet is placed on him, and it's extremely disfigured with burn scars. You can see here that the droids are operating on him. He's lost all of his limbs, except for the one that he had previously lost in battle with Dooku, the right arm there. And then here again, you get a side view of how horribly burned he is right before they're about to put the helmet on him. And then here's the best look with Christensen actually in the suit You can see he doesn't have any hair. He's extremely disfigured. The makeup people did a really good job on this scene in Revenge of the Sith, for sure. So I mean, obviously he's there without the helmet on right there, but he puts it on though. And while the movie didn't actually outright say that Vader needed the suit and helmet to survive, it was heavily implied. And that's not to say that Vader didn't occasionally take his helmet off, as we saw in The Empire Strikes Back. We got that short scene where he's in the meditation chamber and the helmet is coming back down on him when he's being informed that they've located the Millennium Falcon. But we later find out in Return of the Jedi that Vader's helmet was actually essential to him surviving. In that film, Anakin Skywalker asks Luke to help him remove the helmet so that he can see his son with his own two eyes. Luke responds, "But she'll die," not even implying, but saying that if he takes the helmet off, Vader or Anakin at this point dies. We would eventually discover more about Vader's helmet and suit in the Lords of the Sith novel by Paul S. Kemp. In the first chapter, we actually get another scene with Vader without his helmet on. He's inside his meditation chamber, communing with the dark side of the Force. And Kemp writes that Vader's helmet contains a number of neural needles that connect his body to the suit of armor and create an interconnected unit. He specifically writes that the neural needles stab, quote, into the flesh of his skull and the base of his spine, unifying his body, mind, and armor to form an interconnected unit. With the neural needles attached, he no longer felt the absence of his legs or arms, the pain of his flesh, but the hate remains and the rage still burned. Without his helmet on, Vader is conscious of the stumps of his legs, the ruin of his arms, the perpetual pain in his flesh. It appears to state that without his helmet, Vader cannot make use of his actual suit and cannot walk or move. He pretty much needs to wear the helmet that allows him to move around in the Darth Vader suit. He would also remove his helmet in order to supply his body with nutrients and eat. Wikipedia reports that in the Ultimate Factivity Collection, Star Wars, it's revealed that Vader would remove his helmet in order to use a feeding tube because he could not eat normally due to the wounds that he incurred on Mustafar. So if Hayden is going to shoot scenes as Darth Vader without the helmet on, the only time that would be appropriate is if he was meditating in his meditation chamber or if he was eating. It's hard to imagine they would shoot a scene of Vader eating through a tube, but it's quite possible they might show a scene of him meditating to hone his connection to the dark side of the Force. So not only did we get a scene like that in Kemp's book, but Charles Soule and Giuseppe Camuncoli, Darth Vader series in 2017 depicted Vader meditating and communing with the Force without his armor on. So you can see kind of what that looks like. He's kind of like almost like projecting himself into this like dark side Force storm turret sea here. And not only is he depicted as this scarred and disfigured character, but in Darth Vader number 25, which is the final book in their run, in Soule's run, he even sees flashbacks of various life events from when he was a slave on Tatooine to when he dueled Ahsoka Tano on Malachor. He also sees a vision of him trying to save Padme from death. So you get to actually see from kind of Revenge of the Sith where he's trying to save Padme from death. And he has this like Force vision. And what ends up happening is he like strikes her down with like a giant red lightning bolt. And she disintegrates. So there could be opportunities for him to film scenes sans the entire armor, but it's really hard to imagine if they stick to the actual character of Darth Vader, of filming scenes with the armor on and the helmet removed. The helmet is pretty integral to Darth Vader's character. They actually have it written into the story that he needs it to pretty much move around and actually interact within the world and be able to survive in the world. He only really takes it off when he's communing with the dark side of the Force or when he's eating. So I hope they aren't going to be filming scenes of him just wearing the Vader suit and you get to see his head. He needs to be fully in the Vader suit. So I'm hoping this rumor isn't true, but it does come from a source close to us. So what do you make of this rumor? Do you think Christensen should keep the helmet on like Pedro Pascal has in The Mandalorian, aside from that one little bit in the final episode in Season 1? Or would you want to see Christian's face? I don't want to see his face. I want to make that really clear. He should be wearing the actual helmet. I just find it really hard to believe that they would do stuff without the helmet on and he's wearing the suit. That just doesn't work. That's not Star Wars. That's not how Star Wars works. So let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. My name is John Trent, and you've been watching Bounding into Comics. I'll have another video for you on Monday.